So I got around to watching Sonic Prime earlier this week, and I was pleasantly surprised with how it turned out. Sonic Prime was announced way back in February 2021, and little to no footage was shown other than its official logo, which had me worried. I was worried because I actually wanted to give this new series a chance, unlike the latest Sonic animated show, Sonic Boom. That's not to say Sonic Boom was awful, it had its ups and its downs, but overall I just grew tired of it after the first season. But I can't deny its knack for being very self-aware and downright savage at times.
Can the young woman break the glass ceiling and prove once and for all that a female can be just as good an athlete as a male?
You know, Amy, anytime someone calls attention to the breaking of gender rules, it ultimately undermines the concept of gender equality by implying that this is an exception and not the status quo.
Wow.
So having Sonic Prime come along after, what, 5 years? Damn, this show is old. Was a breath of fresh air and a chance to go back to the original style. I've been into Sonic the Hedgehog for as long as I can remember, and like I said, I really wanted to give this show a chance, and I really wanted to talk about it this time around since I missed my chance to talk about the second movie that came out earlier this year, and the new Sonic Frontiers game that I pre-ordered. I haven't played it yet, but I plan to, hopefully soon. Talking about Sonic Prime was a no-brainer. At first glance, I was vibing with this new team dynamic. We have Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles, and Amy as well, which we've seen before. But a new addition to the team was Rouge the Bat, which was an unexpected surprise, but a welcomed one regardless. All things considered, she wouldn't have been my first choice, not when we have characters such as Cream the Rabbit or maybe even Marine the Raccoon. But what do I know? Rouge made it work in this series. She's written so well in this show, so well in fact that you would think she's been a part of the main crew for the longest time. She's not typically one who sticks around in a group, and more often than not, she's usually off on her own pursuing rare items of value and is known to look out for herself. But here, she bounces off well with the other characters and brings a new dynamic to the team. So moving on to the show itself, I very much enjoyed this from start to finish. Firstly, the animation is done really well here, and it almost looks as good as those CG cutscenes you'd see in the opening of a Sonic game. Yes, at times it was that good. Like, I'm just in love with just how bouncy they made the animation look. It makes them come across really smooth and very expressive. Having this new voice cast for this new Sonic series is so refreshing. No disrespect to Roger Craig Smith, who's been voicing Sonic for just over a decade now, but for a small Sonic related project such as an 8-episode Netflix show, it's time to get someone else to fill in those shoes for the blue blur, and the casting couldn't be better. I love this cast. Everyone sounds exactly like their characters, and it honestly feels like nothing has changed, which is good. Sonic's new voice is starting to grow on me, Shadows sounds great, Amy, Tails, and Rouge sound fantastic too, but my only nitpick is Knuckles. In one moment in episode 1, he sounded so odd and goofy, and I couldn't tell whether that was intentional or not because later down the line, he sounded a lot more natural. Take a listen.
Nothing flusters me, Sonic, except when you're late. So, we start at the scene of the crime. Our pal's not exactly the stealthy type.
Okay, so now listen to this.
Eggman's got us fighting the bandits so he can have Sonic all to himself. Whoa, Tails looks upset.
And Tails never gets upset.
So if you picked up on that, it's kind of weird, right? But if you didn't, then I don't know what to tell you. Maybe it's just me, but that line sounded a little awkward. I quite like the overarching story in this show and how everything centers around this one thing. Unlike Sonic Boom, which had different things happening in different episodes, the story for Sonic Prime isn't all that groundbreaking, but it's the concept that stands out the most. The MacGuffin of the show sends Sonic to different realities where he needs to assemble the missing pieces of said MacGuffin. As I said, nothing too crazy, but a fun ride nevertheless. I mentioned before that the writing was done really well for the characters and especially their dialogue. The way every character can bounce off each other is almost satisfying in a way because it makes a scene all the more enjoyable to watch. I love the dynamic between Shadow and Sonic during their fight. There's a moment in episode 3 where Sonic and Co are fighting some robots and Sonic teaches Tails and Knuckles how to spin dash. I thought that was a nice little Sonic Heroes callback. But one thing I started to notice about every recurring episode is that there's a little lesson being learned for for Sonic. Like, Sonic legitimately has some noticeable flaws that he's trying to grow and learn from each episode. Like being too quick to act and not listening to people who are trying to warn him, like Tails and Shadow. Another was with Amy and him not taking a moment to appreciate the memories he's made with his friends and his home. It all comes back into play in later episodes, but I like how they are lessons that Sonic needs to learn from. So the last thing on my list to mention was the ending, and I can't believe I'm agreeing with IGN of all companies, but they were right about the ending being so abrupt. Like, it just kind of ends like this.
I just want to go home. Home? Home doesn't exist anymore because of you!
Which at the time got me excited for the next episode, only to find out that that's all there is. But then I saw a user on Twitter who explained it, and then I thought, oh, okay, that makes sense. And yeah, that's Sonic Prime. I honestly didn't have many nitpicks for this series because I found it so fun and chill to watch. It's definitely worth checking out if you got the spare time, and if you're a casual or die-hard fan of Sonic the Hedgehog, because this 8-episode story has a lot to offer, trust me. Anyways guys, thanks so much for watching. It's a short video, it's a short series anyway, so I just figured why not. I have a Twitter, so if you want you can follow me on there, or you can subscribe to me on here, you know, the choice is up to you. I've got more videos on the way, so be sure to look out for that. But for now, that's it. It's been real, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. See ya.